The Gippsland Lakes are a world-renowned wetland in Victoria's southeast and recognised as a haven for tens of thousands of birds. But there's a growing problem with salinity in the area that some blame on reduced water flows and others on the dredging of the entrance from the sea to the lakes. And tonight, Lateline reveals Australia has failed to fulfil its obligations to protect the lakes, despite signing an international agreement to do so. Hamish Fitzsimmons reports.
No one denies that the lakes are turned marine. All we're talking about is why.
Sixth generation of fishing we've had. Yeah, a lot of change in the last 3 years.
I believe we need to look at the Gippsland Lakes like the Great Barrier Reef of the South.
It's an internationally listed wetland known for its rich bird life and a haven for holidaymakers. The Gippsland Lakes cover 600 square kilometres of Victoria's southeast, and many who live here fear that creeping salinity is slowly killing the lakes.
We lost fringing vegetation, we had erosion following that, we've had the invasion of species, a range of crabs, stingrays, sharks.
The lakes meet the sea at this small opening called Lakes Entrance. Since the late 19th century, the channel's depth has changed with the seasonal movements of water through the system. But in 2008, annual dredging began to keep the channel at a depth of 5.5 metres to allow larger boats through. Many, like long-term Lakes resident Ross Scott, blame dredging for the increasingly salty environment.
Degradation has been incremental since the entrance has been maintained open. But what we've done with the dredging, the supposed trial dredging of 2008, was to just ramp up the increase of salinity.
There are just as many who disagree, though. They say rising salinity is due to less fresh water flowing into the lakes because it's being diverted to Melbourne.
There are major environmental issues facing the future of the Gippsland Lakes, and they relate to some historical decisions, including the extraction of water related to the Thomson Dam, to the irrigation activities throughout the catchment, to nutrient runoff into the region. So we have a whole range of issues affecting the health of the Gippsland Lakes.
Over summer, an algal bloom hit many parts of the lakes. People were warned not to eat mussels, prawns, crabs or whole fish caught in the Gippsland Lakes. The impact on professional fishermen was huge.
In Christmas time, we were down 70-odd% in turnover in our bait and tackle shop, and our wholesale side was down an enormous amount right through the whole area of East Gippsland.
No one knows exactly why the algal blooms are occurring, but there are claims they've become more frequent since dredging began, and that it's having an impact on wildlife.
There's a newly recognised species of dolphins in southeast Australia. Of a population of about 150, 50 of them occur here, are rough figures, and over the last, about 5 years, 15 of them have died.
Lakes Entrance is home to the state's biggest commercial fishing fleet. These boats ply the rough waters of Bass Strait, and the entrance is their safe haven.
The dredging plays a very important role in our community. One, because we have a commercial fishing fleet which needs to access Bass Strait and the fishing fields beyond. So without the dredging operations, we wouldn't have a safe entrance. It's also important from the tourism perspective because a lot of recreational fishermen use the lake's entrance to get out into the Bass Strait as well.
Fishing is the biggest employer in the town, and industry leaders say their livelihoods depend on the dredging.
We've got a large fishing industry in Lakes Entrance, one of the largest in Australia. It's critical for us to be able to safely navigate the entrance and the outer bar. Dredging's only ever been undertaken out on the outer bar recently, so it's critical for us to survive.
But the opponents of dredging say it's much more than a local issue. In 1975, the Australian government nominated the lakes for protection under an international wetlands covenant known as the Ramsar Agreement. It means Australia must notify the Swiss-based Ramsar Secretariat if there's any major changes in the lake system, and a management plan is meant to be updated every 6 years. But Ramsar hasn't been notified of any changes, and the lake's management plan hasn't changed since 2003.
Australia hasn't reported in its national report to the Ramsar Convention that there is adverse change going on here. People are claiming that there isn't, otherwise it would have been reported.
Max Finlayson, who's an advisor to Ramsar, says the Victorian and federal government's refusal to accept the lake system is changing means it can't be managed properly.
By being honest, by telling ourselves that we are changing a system, then we can start to manage it. If we keep trying to hide it, not tell everyone what is going on, I don't think we'll ever manage it properly.
All parties involved in this debate say they want to find out what's actually causing the increasing salinity in the water. They're calling for an independent scientific assessment of the state of the lakes, and then they say when they get those results, they'll actually be able to decide what to do about the problems here.
We need to clean it up immediately, and we also need to start to get these lakes back nice and healthy again so tourism can enjoy it, come down here swimming, bring their families down here. If it's managed right, like everything, there's certainly room for everything.
Managing the lakes back to good health to the benefit of the thousands who depend on them for their livelihoods and recreation is the region's biggest challenge. Hamish, Fitzsimmons, Lateline.
Lateline asked the Federal Environment Minister Tony Burke for a comment about Australia's international obligations regarding the Gippsland lakes, but his office still hasn't got back to us.